Earning per share we have already done in Unit 3. Since your mid-semester exams are MCQ based, really not an option right now. But in finals, even if you do it comes in option, even if you don't do it comes in option, because you will do for the PS only. This is a very dry and crude chapter, not theory is totally out of your level of understanding, BCom students' level of understanding. It covers accounting standard 15. So theory I will not read right now, because if I read the theory, then tomorrow half the class will be absent. And you can try doing that. This risk should be taken at your own. So at home you can try that risk, read one page of theory. If anyone is not feeling sleepy at any point of time, and you want to have a good and sound sleep, then read one page of this chapter's theory. You will sleep for the next 6 to 8 hours, very sound sleep. So we will be directly starting with the practical only, okay, which will be understandable. And for theory, I will make some shortcuts, etc., and give you at the end of the chapter from mid-semester MCQ's point of view. Now, employees' benefit, first of all, we have seen this thing in the profit and loss statement. Okay, in profit and loss statement, after cost of materials consumed and purchases, we used to write immediate employees' benefit. So what are things we used to include in employees' benefit? Salaries and wages. What else? Yes? Incentives, bonus, what else? Contribution to Provident Fund. Not PPF, PF. Contribution to Provident Fund. So employees' benefit means whatever expense the employer incurs for the benefit of employee, like salaries, wages, bonus, incentives, leave salary, income tax, you studied all that, leave salary, pension, provident fund, all that comes under employees' benefits. Accounting standard 15, it comes under accounting standard 15, that gives the instructions how to do the accounting for these employees' benefits. Because employees' benefit is a very wide and complicated topic. It will include the current year's benefits and long-term benefits also. What all benefits or what all payments are possible to employees during the current year related to the current year service? Salaries, wages, bonus, incentives. And what all benefits can we give to the employees in long term when they retire from the business or when they leave our organization and join elsewhere? Pension, gratuity, provident fund, okay, even leave salary can be accumulated and given in cash at the time of retirement. Leave salary we discuss, either it can be given at the time of employment every year, either it lapses, means it depends on company's rules. Some companies decide the rule that you'll get certain number of days of casual leave during the year. Either you take it or leave it. Means it will lapse at the end of the year. And for some companies it gets accumulated. So if you are given like 30 days of leave during the year, you take 20 days, 10 days is accumulated. And whenever you retire or leave the organization, you can encash that. Okay, so in some, it depends from employer to employer and rules of your organization. So employees' benefits, first of all, we can divide in two broad categories. One is current year's benefits, second is long-term benefits. Okay, current year's benefits means salaries, wages, bonus, incentive, commission, and long-term benefits means provident fund, pension fund, gratuity fund, voluntary retirement scheme can also come, compensation at the time of retirement can be given. All this comes under long-term benefit. Leave salary can fall in both. If you encash in the current year, it's a current year benefit, and if you get accumulated and take it at the time of retirement, then it's a long-term benefit. Okay. How to do the accounting for that is prescribed by AS 15. Okay, and why complications arise? Because making a calculation in your business, if there are, suppose if we talk about a big joint stock company, and in a business there are 500 employees, which is quite normal for a big joint stock company. Then each of the 500 employees, finding out, short term is not a problem, but finding out how many of them will leave after 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, how many of them will continue until retirement, then how many of them will leave in between, at that time what will be accumulated, getting the psychology of each employee, will they take the leave or will they accumulate it? From your past experience you get all this information. So practically speaking, it is a very complicated subject. And companies face a lot of problems in its accounting. And that is the reason we have AS 15, which solves all this problem. You will follow accounting standard 15 and do the accounting as per the rules. Is everyone clear with it? So we can divide employees' benefits into two types, short term and long term. Short term means which belongs to current year and next 12 months. Anything which is payable in the next 12 months will also come in short term. Like any amount payable in the next 12 months is current liability. So if any leave is accumulated and you expect the employee will take it in the next 12 months itself, after the year, then that will come under short term. And anything which becomes payable by the company after the next 12 months comes under the category of long term. Is everyone clear with it? So this much brief introduction we'll see and we'll directly take up with the questions. Okay. Look at page number 56, question number 1. Indigo Limited has 100 employees. Each employee is entitled to 10 days sick leave each year. Okay, sick leave, medical leave. Each employee is entitled and allowed to take 10 days of sick leave every year. Unused sick leave is carried forward for 1 year. As per the rules of the company, suppose 10 days sick leave is allowed in this year. You fall sick and take 6 days leave. 4 days you don't take it. Then that 4 days will carry forward to next year. So next year 10 plus 4. You are allowed to fall sick for 14 days. Okay, next year you can take a leave up to 14 days. But 1 year only. Next year 14 days plus 10. 4 plus 10, 14. Now next year this 4 days if you don't take it, it will expire. And next year 10 days again if you utilize 8, then 2 will be carried forward. So every year from 10 days whatever is unused will be carried forward to next year. Only for 1 year. An employee avails the carried forward leave only if the current year's entitlement falls short of the leave. Means next year if you get sick for only 8 days, then there is no required to use the past 4 days. Because again in the second year you are allowed to have leave of 10 days. 10 days every year is allowed. So when will you use that last year's unused leave? When you fall sick for more than 10 days. When there is a shortfall. 8 days means no need to use last year's leave. And how much balance is there in the second year? 2. That will get carried forward to the next year. 4 days will lapse. Okay, yes, if you fall sick for 11 days, then 10 days current and 1 you can take from last year. Nothing will get carried forward to the next year. Okay, so when will you use that last year's unused leave? Only if there is shortfall. Raise your hand who did not understand up till here. All agree with this? Now, on December 31, 2006, the average unused sick leave is 2 days per employee. Average and then unused. Okay, on December 31, 2006, the average unused sick leave is 2 days per employee. Management based on experience. As I said, everything is done on the basis of experience. It's a very complicated topic. So every company on the basis of past experience does the accounting for further years. The management based on experience estimates that in the year 2007, that is next year, only 10% of employees will use 1 day from their carried forward leave. How much is unused per employee on an average? 2 days. So next year the company feels that on an average 10% of employees, everyone is not going to use that. Out of 100 employees only 10% means 10 employees are going to use that, and that too they'll use shortfall of only 1 day. 10% employees will use 1 day from their carried forward leave. And the rest of the employees will not require more than 10 days of leave. Okay. Considering the average payments per employee per day rupees 100. Suppose you are paying to an employee 100 rupees per day. Suggest the accounting treatment for an unused entitled accumulated leave as at 31st December 2006. Now, first of all, 100 employees are there. 100 into 10% employees which are going to use that one day leave in the next year. That comes to 10 employees into 1 day. Means this year's carried forward leave in the next year, how many days are going to be used in the next year? 10 days on an expectation of past experience. Okay? On the basis of expectation of past experience. 100's 10% employees, 10 employees. And into 1 day they are going to use from the past year's carried forward leave. So how many days next year will the current year's leave be used? 10 days. And per day you are giving them? So 10 days into 100 rupees. What will be your cost for the next year? 1000. Since it is going to fall due in the next 12 months itself. Since it is going to fall due in the next 12 months itself. For this 1000, you will make provision from P&L account and keep it aside. Normal accounting, it's a future expected loss. So this 1000, you will make a provision from P&L account and keep it aside. And in balance sheet, because it becomes due in the next 12 months, you will show it as current liability. So what two effects we have to give for this 1000 rupees of expense which next year the employees may use from current year's leave because it belongs to next year, but provision will be kept from current year. And moreover, it is current year's leave which they are using in the next year. So it is an expense of current year. So from current year's P&L account, we'll keep aside that 1000 and in balance sheet we'll show it as current liability. Did everyone understand this question? Okay, one more time I'll explain it clearly. Indigo Limited has 100 employees. Each employee is entitled to 10 days sick leave each year. Unused sick leave is carried forward for 1 year. Only 1 year, after that it will lapse. An employee avails the carried forward leave only if the current year's entitled falls short of the leave he or she requires. So next year he will use the past year's leave only if the next year's 10 days is in shortfall. Means next year if you fall sick for more than 10 days, then only you will use it from the past year. Now on December 31, 2006, the average unused sick leave is 2 days per employee. The management based on experience estimates that in the year 2007, next year, they estimate that only 10% of employees, so 100's 10% employees, 10 employees, and they will use only 1 day from their carried forward leave. So 10 employees into 1 day, 10 days. Means current year's leave, how much will be used in the next year? 10 days for the whole organization. That 10 days leave is of current year but will be used in the next year. So that 10 days cost will be how much? Considering the average payment per employee per day rupees 100. So what will be the cost of those 10 days leave? 10 into 100? 1000. That 1000 is an expense of current year but will be used in the next year. So we'll keep it aside from P&L account of current year as a provision, and in balance sheet we'll show it as current liabilities. So did everyone understand this accounting treatment? Any doubt in this? So write down 100 employees into 10% is equal to 10 employees into 1 day is equal to 10 days. Okay, this is 10 days of expected leave of current year to be used in next year. Any confusion in this? The cost to the company will be 10 days into rupees 100 per day rupees 1000. Did everyone complete up till here? Raise your hand who is still writing it. Now below that write down expense of salaries and wages to be recognized in profit and loss account is the amount payable in 2006 and additional rupees 1000. Okay, so how much amount will you debit in the P&L account of 2006? Whatever amount you paid for 2006 plus this 1000, which is of 2006 but will become payable in 2007. Is everyone clear with it? Next paragraph. Provision for additional amount rupees 1000 to be shown in balance sheet on liabilities side as on 31/12/2006. So liabilities side, in current liabilities we have short-term borrowings, other current liabilities, trade payables and short-term provisions. This will be like a short-term provision. Okay, we are making a provision for the next 12 months. Is everyone clear with this? Any confusions? Now same page, look at question number 2. Indigo Limited has a policy of allowing the employees to carry forward unused sick leave for another calendar year. Exactly same like previous question. Whatever is unused sick leave of current year can be carried forward for another 1 year, but calendar year. They don't follow financial year. So if in 2017 anything is unused, then you have to use it from January to December 2018, calendar year. So it becomes short-term compensated absences, and like this, there's a technical term used. Okay, because you have to use it only in the next 12 months. What do you call it as? Short-term. Because it's to be used in the next 12 months only, it is called as short-term. And compensated absence is a very heavy word used. What does it mean? Leave salary. Okay, short-term compensated absence. So compensated absence, you can write leave salary above it. So any confusion in this? Leave salary we talk in normal terms, and compensated absence they talk in terms of AS 50. So short-term compensated absence means short-term leave salary. It is of vesting type, and a vesting type such that an employee can take payment if he leaves the company. Vesting, there are two types of compensated absences, leave salaries, vesting and non-vesting. Non-vesting means it will lapse, and vesting means you can take the money if you leave the company. So if you are with the company, you can use it non-vesting, but if you leave the company, you will not get cash. And vesting means if you leave the company, you can take cash for the same. Did you understand this? So it's already explained. It is of vesting type such that an employee can take the payment if he leaves the company. Now at the end of 2006, look at Indigo. Indigo Limited computed that 100 days of sick leave needs to be carried forward. Means for all the employees, how much is unused in the current year? 2006? 100 days. So this is to be carried forward, which if encashed, since it is of vesting type, so if it is encashed, it is expected to cost the company rupees 40,000. 100 days it carried forward to the next year, and next year you can encash it if you don't use that leave. So if it is encashed in the next year, it will cost how much to the company? 40,000. Exactly same like here it would cost us 1,000, but here it was not allowed to encash. So either you will take it or you leave it. And here even if you don't take it, then you can encash that. So company is expecting how much cash flow will take this in the next year? 40,000. Should this amount be recognized as an expense of 2006? Yes. Just now in this question also, what two effects will be discussed for this 1,000? it is leave of 2006 but becomes payable in 2007. So you'll show it in P&L account of 2006, actual expense of 2006 plus this additional of 1000. Same way here also. This 40,000 is of 2006 but will become payable in 2007. So you have to recognize it in P&L account of 2006 itself. Regarding balance sheet, it is not asked. But if it was asked, then same thing. In balance sheet, you would show it on liabilities side. Did everyone of you understand this? So only one effect is asked over here. Raise your hand who did not understand this. So let out. Yes. YES, yes. Comma. Indigo Limited should recognize rupees 40,000 as an expense of the year 2006 because short-term compensated absence. I hope all of you understand meaning. Short-term compensated absence belongs to the year 2006. So everyone is clear with this? Now, question number 3. This all can come in MCQ. They'll give you 4 options. They should be recognized in 2006, not recognized in 2009, recognized in 2007. So that way 4 options they'll give you and you have to select the correct option. Question number 3. ABC Limited has 1,000 employees. Each employee is entitled to 10 days casual leave each year. Every employee gets 10 days of casual leave each year. And an unused casual leave lapses, circle that word, at the end of fiscal year. Means nothing is carried forward. So if you get 10 days leave of current year, you take 6 days, 4 days will lapse. In such organizations, I've seen employees, they take those leave at the end of the year. Because they know that next year they cannot utilize it. Or they plan in advance that whenever there is a holiday, they take link holiday and go out for tour or trips with the family. So here there is no benefit. If any 10 days out of 10 days you have taken 6 days, 4 days cannot be carried forward to the next year. Then 4 days will lapse. So you'll feel a lot of jealous with your co-colleagues and employees. That you have taken 6 days, others have taken 10 days and both of you are getting the same salary only. So generally people utilize all the leave. Okay. Here it will lapse. Suggest the accounting treatment for this. Very simple. Whatever actual leave is taken in the current year will only be recognized. So if actual leave taken for 1,000 employees on an average, let us say 7 days is 7,000. 1,000 into 7 is 7,000 days. So 7,000 days into whatever is the cost, suppose rupees 100 per day. Then 7,000 into 100, 7 lakhs will be recognized as expense of current year. You will show it in P&L account of current year. That's it. And cash will go out. Is everyone clear with this? So nothing will come in the balance sheet. You just have to recognize it as an expense of current year, and you'll pay it to the employees. Any confusions with this? Read out question 3. ABC Limited is not required to calculate the amount towards compensated absence because it is included in total employees compensation presented in profit and loss statement. Okay, it is included in total employees' compensation presented in profit and loss statement. So you don't have to calculate any compensated absence for the next year. Whatever amount you actually pay in the current year will only be recognized in P&L account. Is everyone clear with this? Question 4. XYZ Limited has 500 employees. Each employee is entitled to 10 days casual leave each year. Unused leave. Unused leave, comma, each employee is entitled to accumulate, and the enterprise allows encashment, means vesting or non-vesting? Vesting. The enterprise allows encashment of accumulated leave when the employee leaves the enterprise. So whenever you leave the enterprise, you can encash that. You can accumulate it and as well as encash it. First of all, is it short term or long term? Is it short term or long term? Long term. Because whenever you leave, you can encash it. Under the scheme, cash payment is limited to 300 days. More than 300 days cannot be accumulated. So if your accumulated leave is more than 300 days, company will pay you cash only up to 300 days. How would you deal with the situation? So here it is a long-term benefit. See, whatever amount the company estimates to be payable in the next 12 months, that company will create in provision and show it in current liabilities. And whatever amount the company estimates after 12 months, their company will have to use actuarial valuation. Have you heard this term earlier? Actuarial valuation. In insurance companies, we discussed it in brief. Okay, actuaries are the people, technical people who estimate. Like in life insurance companies, generally they have hired the actuaries who estimate how many people are going to die in the certain number of years. So that the company has an expectation that how much amount of policy company might have to pay. So actuaries deal with human resource. Okay, estimating human resource, death, retirement, etc. is all done by actuaries. So because some amount will belong to long term, the company will have to hire the actuaries who will estimate how many employees may leave in which particular year, and accordingly the provision will be done. So actuarial valuation will be required over here. Did everyone understand it? It is not required in short term, because that amount you have to pay in the next year only. But when is the actuary's valuation required when it comes? Long term. Because then you need to estimate how many employees would leave your company and how many employees would retire at a particular age. So spread out. The entitlement for encashment of leave, long term employees benefit, because it does not fall due wholly within 12 months of the end of the period, wholly within 12 months of the end of the period in which employees render the related services. Okay, so first of all, we don't consider it as short term, we consider it as long term, because the amount does not fall due only within the next 12 months. Okay, it may fall due beyond 12 months also. Accordingly, the enterprise measures the liability using actuarial method minus. So first of all, you will find the liability of the company using actuarial method. Actuarial's valuation will be done minus the fair value of the assets created. Now, for understanding, you will write in bracket with pencil. Fair value of assets created means what? Because it's long term, company will set aside the amount from P&L account every year, and they will not keep it idle in the business because it's long term. What will the company do? They'll keep aside the amount and invest it somewhere. So whatever is the estimated value of those investments at that time is called fair value of assets. So in bracket you can mention it with pencil, investments. From that you'll minus the fair value of assets created, that means investments. Okay. To enable the enterprise to settle the obligation as and when it arises. As and when it arises. Is everyone clear with it? And one more last question for today. Question 5. After that, all are long term, so there will be lengthy questions. These all are 2 lines theory answers only. 6th onwards, there will be lengthy questions. So that will take up tomorrow. Be attended. A profit sharing plan requires, profit sharing means employees get share in the profits of the company, like bonus. A profit sharing plan requires an enterprise to pay a specified proportion of its net profit for the year to employees who serve throughout the year. If no employee leaves during the year, then the total profit sharing payments for the year will be 5% of your net profit, if no one of them leave. However, the company estimates that some of the staff members may leave during the year, so it will go below 5%. Everyone will not have to pay. And unlike thus, the profit sharing payments will reduce to 4%. Because some of the employees will leave who will not get the share in profits. If you leave in between the year, you don't get the share in profits as per the rules of the company. So instead of 5%, company estimates it will have to pay how much? 4%. If the net profit of the enterprise is 20 crores, calculate the amount to be recognized as a liability in expense. 20 crores, 4%, 8 lakhs, 80 lakhs. 20 crores, 4%, 80 lakhs. So, read out. The enterprise should recognize liability and expense of ₹20 crores into 4%. 1 hour late. 10:15. Okay. 10:15 only. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 10:15 to 12:15. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 11:15 to 12:15. 20 lakhs into 4%, that is 80 lakhs. 20 lakhs will have 8 zeros. 20 crores. 20 crores will have 8 zeros and 80 lakhs. 20 crores into 4%. Did everyone of you understand this? So remaining questions are all on long-term benefits where present value etc. is to be used. That we'll see tomorrow. And in your homework, what goes is first page self-reading. First page of theory you'll read on your own and come. Okay.